vampires, bodybuilders, trains, barbarians, revolutionary war. And Sentai cosplay, lunars, LARPing, furries, nudists, and more. Practitioner. More than a hobby. Practitioner. More than a hobby. Practitioner.
Welcome to Practitioners, More Than a Hobby. Today our guest is vampire researcher Rayne Brimstone. Which strange places has your research taken you to?
I've traveled the States for a few years, getting leads. Someone sent me a list about where vampires actually congregate. I looked up some of these clubs and nightclubs and whatnot. Some, like I said, some of them were closed down. Some of them were shut down by police. Some of them saw a police investigation. So it just piques my interest a little bit more. But I would not go to these places by myself.
So you're looking for some vampire hunting partners?
There we go, yes, there we go. I mean, but hopefully with this interview, I'll help more people will see this. And if they're interested in the same research that I'm interested in, maybe I get more heads in this time, instead of working by myself.
So what is your research project?
Well, I'm actually looking for the real thing. I actually want to do the research to separate myth from legend. Who knows how many types of vampires are out there, honestly. Right. It's like every culture has their own interpretation of vampires.
For me, put together a profile of what a vampire would look like.
I think a vampire would look like a regular human being. I mean, they might have some more abnormalities, like maybe elongated fingernails. You see more pale than usual. Well, they say if you become a vampire, basically the DNA replaces. They call it junk DNA. For some research called it, and it replaces all the DNA in your body, and it completely changes your physical makeup. So I think that like if someone was paralyzed, like they would be able to walk.
Now we're looking at vampirism
as a medical,
a science.
Yeah,
as a scientific.
That would
knowledge.
See, that's another thing. That's another aspect I would like to investigate. Like, is that true? Like, could that be used for the good?
Like, what are some characteristics?
Having increased speed and agility, most likely. Changing into a bat or an animal, probably not. But maybe with enough training, maybe changing into another person, possibly, could be a possibility.
When we're talking about DNA manipulation.
Yeah, exactly. Or more or less, or having certain like psychic powers, possibility as well.
Do you think that they have issues with sunlight, or does that manifest in
Well, again, that goes along with the mythology. In some mythologies, they say when vampires get older, they become more powerful and they can stand out in sunlight for so much time before it actually starts to hurt them.
What type of profession?
I'd say mostly nighttime professions and whatnot. I would say like nightclub owners, security guards, and stuff like that.
Okay.
Or even businessmen, honestly. Because you see people identify as vampires, people buy fangs, make fangs. In this day and age, how it's been commercialized and romanticized, they can hide in plain sight and they won't even know.
How does being someone who's searching for vampire affect your day-to-day life?
Well, I do research. I would go to New Orleans for the vampire ball. My family doesn't really think it's like, oh, you got to grow up sometime, blah, blah, blah. I mean, it's something I'm passionate about. Something that I've always been obsessed with. Since I was 5 years old, I've been obsessed with vampires.
How did that start when you were 5?
Somebody took me to go see Interview with the Vampire in theaters. But ever since then, it's just been like obsessional. My whole thing that interests me about to begin with is the intellectual aspect. Because for one, if you become a real vampire with the immortality aspect of it, you can basically learn everything that you ever wanted to.
If you became a vampire, what would be the first thing you'd master?
I would probably master a few languages, honestly.
After languages?
After languages, I would probably go to like swordsmithing. After that, I would probably write a few books.
Now let me ask you this.
Yes.
What of those things have you come close to now?
I've actually started back writing a book again. I start making my forge soon. Okay. My mother's let me use her yard to build a blacksmith shop set up in there, so it's been pretty cool.
If somebody's looking to start researching about vampires, what's a good starter book for them to read?
You read the vampire book. It's called the Vampire Book. It's called the Encyclopedia of the Undead.
Okay. What do next steps look like for your research?
If I had time, money, and resources, for one, I'd be checking out certain clubs, certain places, following up in leads with certain myths. But yeah, I mean, like, if there's people out there who share the same passion as me, I mean, I'm totally down for them joining my research project. The more the merrier.
And how would they get in touch with you?
Well, they could contact your website or your Facebook page and whatnot, and then you can send them information my way.
For this episode of Practitioners, our artist is Melanie Glass.
What I do is painting and drawing, and I take my emotion about how I feel about something and apply it to canvas.
What have you taken away from the interview so far?
He's educated, knowledgeable in what he is passionate about, and it just comes through. His energy is there. So I'm excited about getting back home and applying all the things that will show his energy and passion.
And did you have any questions for Rayne?
Yes, and since I am a visual artist, I'd like to know which character do you like?
What's that? Oh, he's from Anne Rice's Vampire Chronicles. The simple fact is he's somewhat egotistical, and yes, I can be like that. But he also has a passion for the beauty and the sciences of the world as well.
Where can people find you if they're looking for your art?
My website is beawesome.com.
Thanks for tuning in to this episode of Practitioners. We absolutely adore it. We appreciate it. And anytime you see More Than a Hobby, you can definitely expect to see us there. For Simon, Stephanie, our guests, Rayne Brimstone and Melanie Glass, thank you so much and good night.
Practitioners, More Than a Hobby.